The Expanse ranks amongst my favourite sci-fi shows of all time, and it's an absolutely great novel as well. It was a shame then to see the sci-fi series cancelled over on Amazon. Fortunately though, we see a return to the Expanse universe with this brand new game from Telltale. This, however, brings up one big question. Is this the Expanse game that we've been waiting for? Well, the answer to that is a bit of a mixed bag. It's not entirely yes and not entirely no. We'll get into the reasons for that in this video. Also, I very briefly want to thank everyone for their support they've shown this channel over the years. Without you, this channel certainly wouldn't exist. And for anyone else who would like to help out, please do check those links in the video description where you can find a link to Patreon. Now, unfortunately right here, I would have absolutely loved to have opened this video with the theme song to The Expanse. It is included in the game on the main menu, but unfortunately it will get this video copyright flagged, so yeah, we can't use that. Before we jump in though, I do want to get a few things out of the way. These are a few criticisms that I just want to get out of the way so we don't have to dwell on them. So my first concern is the way that this game is currently being marketed over on the Epic Store, that is as of today. This may change in a few weeks. The other issue is to do with the game's length. We're going to cover both of these very briefly and then move on. So the marketing over on the Epic Store, it shows that for the price of £31, £32 thereabouts, you get 5 episodes of The Expanse. What it doesn't tell you is that as of today, the 27th of July, that these 5 episodes are not immediately available. They will be releasing with a gap. You can see the release date for each episode on the screen right here. Now, in a month from now, this won't be a problem to anyone making the purchase, but initially, up front for anyone buying today or tomorrow, it's going to be a bit of a surprise if they're unaware of this and just play through episode 1 and then receive the end credits and no further game content. Obviously, for that price, they do get all 5 episodes. It's just going to be a case they have to wait. The waiting itself isn't so much a problem, but the lack of dates on the Epic Store certainly is. The second issue is the length of each of these episodes. Now, for anyone who's played Telltale games in the past, you'll probably be well aware that their games tend not to be very long. The first episode I got through in around about 1 hour. The other episodes are expected to be between 1 hour and 1.5 hours in length. That makes the total game around about 7 hours long or thereabouts, and as far as I'm concerned, that's not really all that long. I'd much rather see a slightly more lengthy story. At any rate, the quality of that story does seem to be pretty good, at least based on what I've seen so far. So with those few criticisms out of the way, let's get into the game. We find ourselves as Captain Drummer, voiced by the original actress in the TV show Cara G. With the XO on board the Artemis, and the game opens with the captain being dragged into the airlock. Immediately, it's very clear that the game is going to be using the tried and tested Telltale formula, which of course is making decisions that have far-reaching consequences. In this case, do we space the captain, or do we show mercy? At this point in the game, which has only just started the story, we don't really have any context, and so it would be impossible to make that decision, wouldn't it? Therefore, the story places us back 8 hours earlier. Now, I don't want to go too much into the details of the story for this game because this game is primarily about narrative and story. Therefore, if I go into too much detail, it will spoil things. But what I will say is that it does have great characters with story that has layers to it, just like the TV show and the books. Now, in terms of gameplay, it very much follows the same structure as other Telltale games, such as The Walking Dead, as well as Wolf Among Us. That means that this is very much a slow burn game, both in terms of narrative as well as gameplay. You won't require any Twitch-based reactions here, and in some of the action-based scenes, you get plenty of warning and plenty of time to input the respective commands. For many games, this would feel a little bit lame, but when Telltale really do focus on a narrative, and this is the primary focus for The Expanse, then yeah, this is, just fine. It works pretty well. When it comes to navigating around the environments, this is all pretty good as well. It's fine, it does what it's required. I did have one issue with the mouse though. I tried playing with keyboard and mouse, and when rotating the camera around, the sensitivity of the mouse is super low, and there's no way to change a camera sensitivity for the mouse in the game settings. In the end, I found it easier to simply switch over to a gamepad. Whilst there does seem to be some walk sensitivity settings as well as some EVA sensitivity settings, they didn't really seem to do much, at least when it comes to the mouse. Dialogue is also a massive part of this game, and you'll find yourself having to choose different options when it comes to conversations.
Call me that again.
Some of these will make just small differences to the overall conversation, but some will have far-reaching consequences. They can lead to the character really liking you or outright hating you. I won't go into any details onto the story itself for this thing. I mean, you're seeing enough in the background in terms of footage, but I'm also trying to avoid too much in the way of spoilers. Either way, you will experience a little bit of combat in the terms of quick-time events, few action sequences, a lot of walking around and exploring corridors, as well as a whole load of conversation. You'll also get to do some zero-G exploration as well, both out in space as well as on board ships. In the end then, playing The Expanse feels very much like watching a new episode of the TV series. This of course is greatly helped by Kara G, who has an amazing performance as drummer, which is a great character after all, as well as a very good supporting cast and some fantastic characters. And you'll get to know these characters over the course of the episode and hopefully kind of bond with them along the way, or maybe not so much bond depending on the options you choose there. Ultimately then, if you've played both a Telltale game before as well as watched the Expanse TV show, then you'll know exactly what to expect from this game. If you haven't done either, but are looking for a decent narrative experience, then this could be a very good option for you. Ultimately then, as to whether this is the Expanse game that we've been waiting for, that really depends on whether for you Expanse is all about narrative and characters. If the answer to that is yes, then this certainly does fill that need. But if, on the other hand, the Expanse for you is about combat, spaceships, as well as a vast politically interwoven story, then this probably is not the game you're looking for. Either way, at this point it's very hard to make a true judgment call, as we've only got access to episode 1, which, like I say, I got through in just about 1 hour. So please don't see this as a full review. There's more to come. We've got another 4 episodes to look at, as well as a 6th episode that is released only for people who purchased the deluxe version of the game. The bottom line there means that we won't really know what to expect from this game until around early to mid-September. Now, right here I'm going to include a spoiler, a big spoiler actually, so stop the video now if you don't want to see that. For those of you who want to hang around, here are the decisions I made throughout episode 1, so you can see the decisions I made at any significant moment. Use this to compare to your own decisions. I'd love to hear what you chose. So that brings us to the end of this video. I hope it's been a little bit insightful at least. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.